Good Tuesday morning. Today's got a great text here. There's a great text, and it's about the Sabbath. Okay, I'll read it to you. It's St. Mark. And it says, as Jesus was passing, don't always take that word seriously. It means this is an epiphanic event. It's the Epiphany. It means Christ is going to reveal a salvific moment. Moses crossing the desert, okay? Passover, see? As Jesus was passing through a field of grain on the Sabbath. So you know this is a holy event, or they wouldn't use the word passing. He didn't say walking, he said passing. That's a powerful word. The most powerful word in a sense in both testaments, because it's a signal of the divine intervention in the leadership from slavery to freedom. Bingo. Okay, now watch it. The disciples began to make a path while picking the heads of the grain. At this, the Pharisees said to him, look, why are they doing this? Why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath? In other words, picking the grain, okay? He said, have you never read what David did when he was in need and he and his companions were hungry? What did they do? How he went into the house of God of all places when Abiathar was the high priest, and he ate the bread of offering that was only a priest could lawfully eat. And he shared it with his companions. He said to them, come on, the Sabbath was made for man, not made for the Sabbath. That's why the Son of Man is the Lord even of the Sabbath. See? There's nothing wrong with the divine law or the Mosaic law, but make sure you know what it is. It's a means towards an end, not an end in itself. You see? It's a means. We're in the adventure of life, the passing. And in each passing, the Passover, we are constantly in the desert. We are constantly walking. And in that walking, we have the companionship of Christ. The old law, I'm not taking anything away from the Mosaic law any more than Christ did, but remember that it is always a means towards an end. It's a means towards an end, and I think of the church are that way too. The church has her rules. Sure, they're necessary. Her canonical rules, etc. I follow them. I mean, I don't disregard them. We're a society. We have to be governed by law. And this is divine law through the ministry of the church and the authority of the papacy and the bishops, etc. I respect it, more than respect it. I honor it, bend the knee to it. If the local bishop here, Rosansky, decided that I was a little bit too wacky and he said to me, I don't want you saying Mass anymore publicly, I'm out of a job. I could go to SLU, of course, teach, but I would no longer be able, and he'd be right. He had full authority to do that to me. And I respect it. Not only respect it emotionally, respect it honorably. I would drop my knee. I said, that's it, I'm out. So I can't preach a word from the pulpit without his sanction, without him saying so. That's the truth. It's called faculties. He could take my faculties from me anytime. Sure. Hopefully for good reason, but he doesn't have to have it. He could just have a chip on his shoulder. Make any difference. He has the authority. I don't. It's as simple as that, you see. That's the truth. So I respect that, profoundly respect. But on the other hand, it ain't an end in itself. It's not. It's a means of governance. What is important is the pastoral life, and that's what Christ is doing here. He's not taking away the Sabbath. He's not taking away the importance of the Mosaic law, but he's seeing it as a means toward an end, a twofold means. One, the governance of the people of God. It was given to them by Moses, to Moses, for the people. And it's kept them together for 3,500 years. That's not to be taken lightly, the Mosaic law, okay? See? But also because it points to Christ himself. You have to read the Old Testament light of the New, you don't get it. If you ask a Jew that question, say you're crazy. This thing only refers to the Jewish people. And through the Jews, universal redemption, as it were, okay? But from a Christian point of view, we'd say that is a foretaste and a pointing to Christ. It doesn't invalidate it, it gives it its fullest meaning, you see? But you got to start with Christ to make that claim. You can't start from the Jews and go to Christ. You got to start from Christ and go backwards and pull forward. That's how it works, you see? So, what's the story here then, you see? It's the story that the Sabbath is for man and not man for the Sabbath. It is a means for our sanctification, our growth in the life of the faith, our growth in our lives of our homes and our families, etc. You see? Not an end itself. The sacraments are not ends in themselves. The sacraments are means to the fulfillment and the flourishing of human life, human religious life, the life of the soul. Not ends in themselves. They're means. They're the means by which Christ is immanently present within us in the life of the church to sacramentalize every phase of human existence in the pursuit of the eternity of what is good and beautiful and true. See? On a journey, we're crossing the desert of life. These are the means by which we are sustained in that. They're not ends in themselves, they're means of sustenance in the journey. See? That's important. And pastorally, it is extremely important in my view. I'm grateful for my experience, my years of formation in the order, because I learned how to live the gospel as opposed to living the rules. I came into the order so scrupulous. I was a scrupulous kid growing up, and I had to learn that the love of Christ doesn't reject law, but transforms it into a means and not an end. And I learned that in the outfit. But I also learned pastorally in the outfit, because the canon lawyers that taught us to think pastorally, not canonically. I learned how to see what the gospel required in a given moment, and I've lived by that. So I do exercise the rules of the game, but at a given moment, I do what I have to do. And I bring Christ through the sacraments wherever I can, whenever I can, however I can. I don't worry about whether it's canonically normative. I don't care. There's an expression in one of the few canonical things I remember in Periculum Mortis: in the danger of death, all bets are off. Do whatever you got to do. And boy, I've done it. Hearing confessions over the phone, whatever. I just did yesterday. Absolve somebody who's dying. Absolve them over the phone. Got to do what I got to do. Right? So many instances. So many times. All I think in that one little piece of canon law that I remember in Periculum Mortis, all bets are off. Do what you got to do. I refuse to lose, to be in the presence of a person in need of grace and turn away and say, well, I'm not authorized to do this bull crap. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah, God will sort it out later. I don't care about that stuff. At that given moment, the only thing I am there for is to be a minister of grace. Just what Christ does in there. Guys are hungry, feed them. Don't sweat the small stuff. Do it. Here he fed those people on the journey, even though it wasn't canonically pure by Mosaic law, but it was that they were hungry. What are they hungry for? They're hungry for life. And Christ met their needs in life. Right? Yeah. Would he normally obey the rules? Sure, of course. But this time they're hungry. At a given moment, pastorally, in the pasture of life, he fed them. And he let them feed themselves. He didn't actually cut it off and hand it to them, but he didn't condemn them for their self-nurture. Okay? In a given moment, in Periculum Mortis, do whatever you got to do. If you're hungry, get it? And I don't mean it in a cheap sense. You know that. I wouldn't say it to you. But it's the truth. In the great journey of life, Christ is present to us, not by rule, but by immanence, by his immanent loving presence. And there he does, and he commands us to do whatever you got to do, okay? To walk the journey, see? And at a given moment, you have to figure it out for yourself. You might have to pick the grain, see? You might have to pick the grain. You're hungry. It doesn't, not in a cheap sense, but in a profoundly religious sense. You can't pour new wine in old wineskins, and you can't be afraid to pick the head of grain. You have to do what you have to do. See? In loving Christ and in loving your own life and the lives those you've been blessed to live with, nurture, pastor, whatever it may be, the journey.